So the thing about the spiritual journey is it's an internal one. It's about metamorphosis and not change. And change is scary, but change is the only constant in the universe, right? You can guarantee one thing, that change will happen. A lot of what keeps this reality stuck is the limitations that are placed on humans mentally. And a lot of this is self reinforced by the programming that we're given. The change that happens internally is not something that's seen. The change, the metamorphosis, is something that you can't go back on. It's not like a butterfly turning into a caterpillar. That change, that metamorphosis, can't be reversed. That's a huge metamorphosis. That's the same thing that happens when people start to awaken and realize that they're more than their body, more than what they see, more than what they've been taught. But unlike a caterpillar and a butterfly, you don't look different. You still look human. You don't have wings, but you do have a different experience of this world. I think there are bridges that are being built, and I've participated in that. Look at this hammock as a bridge that's being built from one tree to another. And I'm resting in this hammock during this lifetime. But there's other bridges being built from different generations to different generations, from different soul ages to different soul ages. And we'll talk about that a little later. But let's talk about religion. To me, religion is like training wheels for younger souls. The problem is a lot of younger souls don't take those training wheels off. Now, you can ride a bike with training wheels. You can ride a bike successfully. It can get you from point A to point B. But the training wheels, while it does keep you upright, while that is beneficial when you're younger, is a detriment when you get older. It doesn't allow you to maximize the potential of the bike. Eventually, you got to take those training wheels off. When you take those training wheels off, you open yourself up to the potential of falling, of getting hurt. And you will fall, you will get hurt, but you will get up and you will learn from those mistakes. And that's part of life. We all learn from our mistakes. So think of religion as training wheels for life for younger souls. Older souls are not very religious because they have more experience with those programs and belief systems and have worked through that previously. The younger souls, they're attracted to it. They want the rules, they need the rules, they need an authority figure, so an authority figure is given. The problem is the authority figure given is not supposed to be as controlled and as manipulated as it's given. Just like a teacher, you're looking to the teacher for an answer, but eventually that teacher wants you to have as much knowledge as they have and even more. That teacher would want you to learn what they know and more. That's what a true teacher will want. They don't suppress information. They don't keep you at a lower level. They don't keep you beneath them. A lot of these religions want to keep people in hierarchies that they create that allow them to have the power and the influence. And when you look at this world, a lot of the influence and power has to do with religion because otherwise, how do you get people to behave in this life? Well, one way you get them behaved in this life is to make them fear the afterlife. And so now you have a finite life and you have an infinite afterlife. And if you mess up in this finite life, you'll be punished infinitely. And that infinite punishment could be, uh, fire, brimstone, hell, whatever you want to call it, right? So they have you in control for your life to save you from the afterlife. A lot of the religious teachings kind of do that, and it works, and it's worked for a while. But it doesn't work for the older souls because they realize the divinity within them, and they've seen through those lies and those deceptions, and they realize that there is no need for an intermediary, and that if God can talk to that person, then God can talk to you. So let's talk about me, you, us, and them. And this is really what I want to get into for the gist of this. So let's go back to this metamorphosis deal, right? So the spiritual journey is like a metamorphosis. It's a change. It's an internal change. And the thing about an internal change is you don't see it. It's not like I'm in a cocoon now and then I'll pop out and I'm a totally different creature and I'm a butterfly. Spiritual journey doesn't work like that, but it is a difference in experience of life, just like going from a caterpillar to a butterfly. You're going from crawling on your belly to flying, but you're still walking, right? That's the thing with the human aspect of it. Now, let's look at me and let's look at you. Because what I've attempted to do in this lifetime is to explain spirituality, awakening in a very simple manner, directly to you, from the horse's mouth, if you will. Not from any intermediary or anything like that. Not from anyone saying he said this or he said that. So let's talk about me and you. We're having a conversation. We're in a relationship, right? So me and you. What is you, right? Not what someone told you, not what you read, but what are you? What is you? Do you know that? Do you know who you are? When someone asks you that, what do you say? Do you mention your name? Do you mention your profession? Do you mention your characteristics of your avatar? Or do you mention the energy that's animating the avatar? Or the consciousness that is receiving the input from the avatar, right? So, what are you? I would argue that you're the consciousness, you're the spirit, you're the soul receiving the input from the avatar. The avatar is not you. You are your own universe. That's you, your own universe. Me, I'm also you, but me is a mystical experience. So we're all having mystical experiences. Most people don't know that. They think that life is this, just physical stuff, right? There is a physical world and there's a non-physical world. There's the natural world and there's the supernatural world. The supernatural world is what the natural world is built on. You are a supernatural being having a natural experience. This is all natural, nature. We're all part of nature. We aren't separate from nature. Part of the belief systems that make us separate from nature are what is having us degrade our environment. Because we're one of the smartest things on the planet, but we're one of the few things on the planet that degrades its own environment. It's like we're mimicking alien behavior of colonizing and um, beings that don't treat this place like theirs. They just want to use it. They just want to use it for its resources because it's not their planet, right? It kind of makes you think that. So you are your own universe. Me, I'm a mystical experience. You are a mystical experience, but we're all your own universe, right? Now, that mystical experience, that me, is gathering experience from my life, from what I see, from what when the camera goes off to everything that's part of my experience. And it's a mystical experience that we all have. And there's levels to that mystical experience that you can awaken to. That's what people were talking about for years and years and years. A lot of these religions are built around these people telling you that you're having a mystical experience and you're God having a mystical experience. You are the universe. You are the universe, your own universe. Now, yeah, that's amazing. That's special. That's awesome. But in that same breath, so is this person. So is that person. So is that person. So is that tree. So is that bird. This is all the universe, right? And everything is having a mystical experience. Everything may not know it's having a mystical experience. A lot of humans don't know they're having a mystical experience. A lot of humans don't even think that there's a such thing as a mystical experience or a supernatural experience. They believe that it's just matter and this is just billiard balls banging against each other. So there's me, mystical experience. There's you, your own universe, and we have a relationship. And everyone that you're interacting with is their own universe, having a relationship with you and with the universe. So we're all nodes of the universe interacting with each other, and that's what the greats were talking about. Mystical experience here, talking to a mystical experience here, the universe here, talking to the universe here. Just like they say namaste, we're reflections of this light. When God said, let there be light, and I know God is a charged term, and When I say all there is or source, that kind of goes over people's head, but people understand God in the Christian nation. But I understand God's term because as soon as you, God's charge, because as soon as I say God, then they're going to apply these properties to God. Part of the problem is our definition of God is very limited. It doesn't include ourself. We include God as an external thing and not an external thing. When the spiritual journey is an internal thing, just like the butterfly changing into a caterpillar. It gets still and then it goes from one form to the next. It's an internal thing. And inside of that cocoon, it said that there's a battle between the old thinking and the new thinking, between the caterpillar and the butterfly, between the old self and the new self. But we all know who wins that battle. The new self wins. The caterpillar turns into the butterfly. So the butterfly wins. Because, okay, you, me, and let's talk about us and them. Because that's the other dynamic. So you and me could have a conversation and we can come to some middle ground and come to some agreements on the commonality of our experience and the baseline of our experience that experience is built on. Because that baseline that experience is built on is shared by all of us. We're all sharing the same rock bottom, if you will. What about them? This is us. What about them? And we tend to have an us versus them dynamic, and that's part of the program as well. But them is just another version of us. Me is just another version of you. Them is just another version of you. And in order to really understand that, there needs to be communication. There needs to be openness. There needs to be sharing of information. And it can't be from a point of I'm right and you're wrong. It should be from a point of understanding. And if we were able to do that, we can see that the things that unite us and the things that make us more alike are way more prevalent than the things that we fight over and the things that keep us divided. The things we fight over and keep us divided is propagated by those that are benefiting from that division. Because as soon as we decide we don't want to play this game and we want to play a different game where we take our power back, this world changes. What can they do to stop it? What can 1% do to stop 99% when they said they want to change the game? They can't do anything. And that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of you waking up and realizing that the power was in you all the time and uniting, like we've been talking about all the time, and changing the game. And changing the game to where they're not the middleman anymore. They're not the authorities. They're not the players that they are now. And they're scared of that because they've based a lot of their life on them being those players and those middlemen. And when you take that away, that's all they got. And that terrifies them because they're afraid of change too. But there's room for them as well. This isn't, I'm not the person to try to burn bridges. Because you never know when you need to cross. And you never know what kind of asset or what kind of help someone can be. Now, if someone shows you their true character and you get an opportunity to change and they don't change, then it's up to us to be wise about that and decide how we want to handle that. I wouldn't say keep getting slapped on the cheek if you're getting slapped left and right. At some point, you walk away. Or you choose not to spend your energy with that person or in that environment. But I think everyone has the ability to change. And I would want the ability to change if I was in a wrong position. So I'm offering that to others in the wrong position as well, because they can be part of the story and be part of the solution. Otherwise, the story that they tell and the story that they're going to be a part of is one that is not going to be good for them because it's going to be one where they continue to just stand on business, but bad business, and just ride that business down. And some people will do that. Pride will let people. Some people do that. I've seen it on multiple levels. I don't know, y'all. I'm just. It's like the people that are awake. I talked about this before too. If you're awake or awakening, you're on that path. All right, cool. If you're not questioning, then odds are you're probably going to stick with not questioning. It's like people are in their lanes and they're going to stay in their lanes, and that's fine. I'm looking for people that are in their own lanes but traveling a similar trajectory, and maybe we can unite and do some things to help. But it's not about changing anyone's mind. Because if you think about it, most people didn't come to their religious beliefs and stuff like that through logic and reasoning. If you think about it, you weren't given all of these different belief systems and said, these are the pros and cons of each, this is the history of each, and now you decide. No, most of us didn't come to our beliefs that way. So it's hard for us to get out of our beliefs that way. Because you didn't come to your belief system through logic and reasoning and looking at all of these belief systems and looking at these histories and ancient texts and this, that, and the other and talking to different people. And no, you just swallow hook, line, and sinker what your mom or your dad told you or your parents or grandparents or whoever introduced you to whatever belief system you have. And they're the most important people in the world to you and the smartest people in the world to you and know all the answers. And depending on the parents, they may play that up, but they're not going to say, I don't know. They're going to say, this is what it is. And a lot of them are trying, they have good intentions. They're trying to protect you. They're trying to protect you from hell, from this loving God, right? And all of this stuff. So some of them have good intentions. They are giving you the same hell insurance that they have, right? And that's fine. Most of them don't even question those things or the detriment to it. If they really knew how it affected them, I don't think they would propagate that to the next generation. But they don't know. They're thinking they're passing on good news, the gospel, good news. I'm going to give you this good news. I'm going to teach you that this God of everlasting love is not going to burn you in hell forever for somebody in the past getting tricked by Satan and eating an apple and creating an original sin and having to send his son to die for you. So, isn't that good that God sent his son to die for you in your place as a sacrifice for the sin that Adam and Eve created long time ago that pissed God off because they disobeyed, because they were tricked by Satan? And aren't you glad that God didn't burn you for hell for what should have happened for multiple generations of your ancestors and chose to kill his son in your place because otherwise he would have killed you? Yeah, that's one way to look at it. And there's plenty of other ways to look at it. How many other ways have you been shown? That's part of the game. But just like we said before, we're all having a mystical experience. Not all of us know that. Me, I'm having a mystical experience. That's me. You, your own universe. Your own universe, my own universe. Me and you, both having mystical experiences here. Supernatural beings having a natural experience. And the experience is what we gather in from our natural body, from nature, from this avatar that is created from nature, like everything else is. We're not separate from nature, we're one with nature and experiencing nature from this perspective to where we can impact our environment more than any other thing in nature can. But look how we chose to impact our environment. We can do much better. And I think we will, but we've been acting on lower levels of consciousness. And now we have to raise our game up, raise our level up. And it's going to be a journey to get there, but I think we're going to get there. It's going to be an interesting ride. So I'll be here with you to help in any way that I can. I don't. I think I'm helping on certain levels, and I really want to help on a large level. We'll see if that comes to realization or not, or comes to. Uh, we'll see if it happens or not. Most of the time, I don't get to talk about this stuff to other people. I'm talking to trees and nature, and it is what it is. But I was telling my brother that nature is one of the things, the few things that embraced me, that's here, that accepts and sees me as I am. It's not judgmental like humans can be. Let's go back in our hammock here.